Something is grossly wrong in America today. We can all feel it, we all know it, but we can't put our finger on it. But we know that something is very, very wrong. People are acting strange. They're in a zombie-like denial of something ominous on the horizon. Americans walk around in a dreamlike daze like a wife who knows her husband is cheating on her, but doesn't have the guts to confront him about it. Americans are suffering from a mass case of battered wife syndrome. She is well aware that her husband is cheating on her and beating her daily, yet she's in deep, deep denial. A denial so deep, it is a sickness, a literal mental illness. Rather than confronting the truth of her husband's infidelity and beatings, some take out their deep inner aggressions on everyone else. Others just live their lives in a putrid fog, an abstract nightmare that can only be masked by taking another hit of the great American drug, bliss. Ah, self-inflicted and convenient. Ignorance is bliss. It all started on September 11th, 2001, when the government, the husband, lied to us about a 757 jetliner flying into the Pentagon, leaving only a 16-foot hole. And 3 steel-framed skyscrapers, 2 of which were 100-plus stories tall, collapsed straight down into their own footprints within minutes of being hit by planes. One was never hit at all. It just decided to fall. No, honey, I was at the office last night. That lipstick on my collar is not lipstick at all. It's just grape jelly. And if you can believe lies like that, then you can also believe a 757 jumbo jet made this 16-foot hole in the Pentagon, not even leaving an indentation where the wing should have hit. Hello? Is anybody home? If you believe Cartoon Network physics like this, then in your strange and bizarre world of denial, you are in danger of being sucked down the drain of your very own bathtub. Honey, your spouse is cheating on you, and you know it. What is even more amazing than this real-world physics impossibility is not that the government lied and covered it up. All surveillance cameras and video was confiscated by the FBI, but that intelligent people like you actually believe it. Or do you? The truth is, none of us believe this utterly ridiculous lie, but the truth is even more distressing and disturbing to accept than the lie. And people do not want to be disturbed or distressed. We do not believe the lie, but we accept the lie, knowing it is a lie, and we accept it as fact. We have accepted this lie to the point of madness, wherein now many have convinced themselves to believe the lie as fact. And in so doing, we have become accomplices to all the barbarous and genocidal acts that have been committed around the world to protect ourselves from facing what we know to be true. In the film The Matrix, humans are depicted as slaves hooked into a giant computer, which weaves a matrix of illusion about them. In modern America, we too are hooked in an illusionary matrix, only it is an electronically generated web of propaganda, spin, omission, and distraction presented daily by the corporate mass media. Most Americans seem unable to perceive, much less escape, this psychological matrix. The tragic attacks of September 11, 2001 are an example of how a person's thoughts and emotions can be manipulated by the electronic audio and video images. The horror and revulsion felt by Americans was swiftly used to stampede both Congress and the public into accepting a foreign war and subsequent loss of freedoms, all in the name of security. However, Far too many questions and anomalies remain about 9/11 to justify closure. All evidence appears to indicate an inside job. The perpetrators of this heinous crime have spent billions of dollars examining and testing the psyche of man, with the results demonstrating that the truth of the Nazi philosophy which they are implementing, people will more readily believe a big lie than a small one. And it worked and succeeded for the most part, even to the surprise of those who took the risk to pull this mass murder deception off. Phase 2 was quickly implemented to rally the shocked and grieving Americans around the flag and against the fabricated enemy, and to stir the pot of patriotism to a heated boil, that anyone who did not believe the cartoon physics demonstrated on September 11, 2001, was unpatriotic and were with the fabricated terrorist. "You're either with us or you are with the terrorist," shouted the chief cheerleader and figurehead of the atrocity, and the mass deception of an entire nation was a go. Now the agenda could be carried out. The war on world oil resources from third world countries and the Nazification of the American people, to bring them into submission and subjection to the new world order. Without September 11th, neither could have been accomplished. On September 11th, the globalists won the trifecta, so says Bush. And all evidence from the Twin Towers controlled demolition. Yes, I said it. Controlled demolition. You saw it with your own eyes, and you know that 100-plus story skyscrapers could not fall by accident into their own footprint so neatly. Both of them, without professional, highly professional help, with steel girder evidence of a controlled demolition swiftly shipped off to China, never to be seen or heard from again, or forensically investigated by the American people. Lest the truth come out of what really happened on 9/11 and the American people revolt, canceling the globalist check they had just cashed against the American people. Since that time, the beast, government, has been ravenously eating the woman's flesh, like in Revelations. The American people, swiftly bankrupting America through bogus contracts, war, inflated gas prices, and more. Our government wouldn't lie to us and be complicit in such a barbarous and hideous act. They did, and they are, and you know it, which makes everything that they have done since, based on this heinous lie, all the more despicable and wicked. The torture of innocents, mass murder, illegal wars, deforming children with depleted uranium, incarceration of innocent people called enemy combatants, the oppression within our own country, the destruction of the U.S. Constitution, everything. What's going on here? Normal people like yourselves cannot fathom nor comprehend evil to this extent. They depend on your not being able to understand this level of wickedness. It is their greatest strength. Face the truth and get over your insane and ungodly denial. You have been duped, and like a brainwashed and mind-controlled, frightened to death zombies, you deny it all, and call anyone who tries to tell you different a conspiracy theory nutcase. Who really is the conspiracy theory nutcase? Those that believe that a 757 can fit through a 16-foot hole? Or those that don't? What world do you live in? They did it, you know it, and America is in deep trouble. Unless you are willing to face what time it is on God's prophetic clock and just who these great end-time deceivers and actors really are. And in the grand scheme of things pertaining to end-time events, who are they? America has fallen and become the habitation of devils. and you know what it says happens to her next. Like the betrayed wife, not willing to have her ridiculous bubble of security besmirched by her husband's lies, the disillusioned and battered wife, knowing she is being lied to, blocks the truth and pretends that all is well in her failing marriage. She will defend to her death her husband's fidelity and faithfulness to her friends and associates, all the while knowing that they are telling her the truth. Her marriage is over, and unless she has the guts to confront her murdering, cheating husband, he will kill her next. Welcome, America, to your worst nightmare, your night of the living dead. Because you are unwilling to accept the truth, you have become like walking zombies to those in the know, and are willing to face the truth. You are like people walking the Green Mile, a dead man walking, living in a fake fantasy world of pretense and denial. In your denial, you are backpedaling and moonwalking right over a cliff. Unwilling to accept the fact that your government has betrayed you and is complicit in murdering 3,000 plus of your fellow citizens, you would rather buy another lie. To go and kill as many innocent people as you must in order to validate the fantasy that your husband is not cheating on you. Everyone must be tortured and die in order to validate your denial. People are driving faster, more recklessly now, more short-tempered. Americans are snapping and lashing out at each other at the drop of a hat. Americans are beginning to suffer deep mental and emotional dementia for their complicity in the crimes against the rest of the world in order to validate their denial of the truth and to bolster the tons of lies they have filed away in their minds. You can only digest so much before you regurgitate. In so doing, we have become zombies. Knowing the truth, we turn on Fox News to validate the lies and get our all is well in Zion quick fix of the great American drug, bliss. Knowing that Fox News and others are now obviously government propaganda tools and the false prophets of the beast, and no longer the credible news-gathering agencies that we grew up with. Something has changed in America. America is no longer America, but something else, and is continuing its deadly metamorphosis on a daily basis. The country is both monetarily and spiritually bankrupt, and is overripe for attack by outside nations who seek to put a stop to our madness of global domination, torture, mass murder, mass terrorism, based on lies. The American attitude is as it is written in the scriptures. I sit as a queen, and I shall know no widowhood, nor shall I see war on my soil. Who is like America? Who can make war against us? Say the Babylonians. We are the world's superpower, not realizing that in saying such we are fulfilling the prophecy of the attitude of Babylon the Great of Jeremiah 51 and Revelations 18. In truth, we zombies know that our days are numbered, but we have so overdosed on the great American drug bliss through our multitude of pushes that we just don't care anymore. In effect, we are all just waiting to be attacked, invaded, and killed at the hands of our enemies. For we know that there is much blood on our hands, and we know that we are guilty of killing, torturing, maiming, brutalizing the rest of the world based on lies. Dead men walking. The night of the living dead are we, who claim to be the light unto the world, the Christian nation, the beacon. Oh, yes, we are. We have spread our apostate version of the teachings of Yeshua all around the world, along with our depleted uranium. And you know, God is not amused, nor is he pleased with the Babylonian brand of gospel we are spreading. We promise to bring democracy to the rest of the world, but democracy prosecuted by war. By peace, we shall destroy many. The UK and the US, like the beast with two horns like a lamb, Christian nations that speaks as a dragon, lies and deceives the rest of the world. We have launched our end-time Book of Revelation campaign of death and destruction to the rest of the world. All the while, drugged and pampered Christians are still looking for the Antichrist and beast as if this is some future event. All the while, breathing in the midst of the Book of Revelation and the literal whore riding the ten-horned beast. As America falls by design, I hear the sound of a powerful angel shouting, "Babylon is fallen, and become the habitation of devils." And though this angel is sounding, we hear the ridiculous drumbeat of those who believe that Babylon can be healed by simply impeaching the king. But the king is not the problem. The problem is the people. The king is merely a result of the fallen and apostate rulers of this country. You and I. The illegitimate President of the United States, George W. Bush, illegitimate through obvious voter fraud and detailed in the book of Daniel as the unwanted one, the vile one, whom the people did not give the glory of the kingdom vote for. He's fulfilling his prophetic antics like clockwork, and even now the ships of Kittim, Turkey, have come against his desire to use Turkey as a base of operation for his latest exploits against the last remaining king of the South, Iran. We are nearing the end of the 11th chapter of the book of Daniel, people, and God's people are still looking at what we errantly call the Holy Land, which God calls Sodom and Egypt in the book of Revelation, meaning unholy land, awaiting the Jews to rebuild a temple that has nothing to do with the temple spoken of in Bible prophecy. The body of Christ is the temple being built in the last days, according to the prophecies, not a temple made with man's hands in Jerusalem. We are waiting for a false Messiah that will perform the same miracles as Yeshua did, but not realizing that the devil cannot and will not be able to duplicate the miracles of Yeshua, but only perform lying wonders through trickery and technology, as the miracles of Yeshua performed are God's signature, and they cannot be forged. Yeshua said, "If you do not believe me because of the words I speak, believe me for the signs and the miracles I perform." With such a saying as this, believe for the signs, do you honestly think that Yahweh will grant Satan his signature to access such power? It will not happen. As we continue our inside-out trek into Revelations, movies are made, books are written, and televangelists are preaching as smoke and mirrors, lying testimony of how end-time events will transpire. All the while, we are in the midst of the truth of prophetic interpretation right now. And it is nothing like the lies being disseminated by these false prophets and false apostles. The deception is on, and God's people in America are awaiting that which will not be, not willing to come to grips with the truth that we are in the book of Revelations right now. And we in America are that great whore dressed in scarlet, linen, and purple. Scarlet, linen, and purple. Scarlet, linen, and purple. Would that be like red, white, and blue? Absolutely. Riding and worshiping the beast, the government. Soon the Watchman Report will be no more, but you will remember these words when what has been prophesied comes to pass. For truth, America has fallen from her once benevolent place on the world scene and is now an aggressor nation, even as Nazi Germany was. And according to the prophecies, the fate of America, Babylon, will be an even greater fall and destruction than Nazi Germany. And we, by our lackadaisical and uncompassionate "I sit as a queen" attitudes, will suffer doubly for what we have allowed our country to do to the rest of the peoples of the world. Come out of her, my people, that you do not share in her plagues, and that you are not counted as one who is caught up in the zombie-like dream state and denial of America's night of the living dead. Still in denial? Well, like a good detective investigating your cheating spouse, we've got video. But just like a betrayed spouse in denial, some of you won't even watch this video, afraid that you will discover the real truth of your cheating sweetheart, the beast. God is watching and taking note, and time is quickly running out.
When I was an officer, there still was something that we could coherently call a country based on our social and historical traditions. It doesn't exist anymore. I believe, and I'm going to say this, that the United States is in a process of rapid collapse as a democratic institution, and that a large part of its people, or most of its people, are suffering from some form of self-denial to the point that it's insanity. I think a lot of Americans have literally gone insane.